So Brunswick was only created a couple of years ago. It's part of the Cisco group. We always like to have one or two shells on the side, which when market conditions rise to the occasion, then we basically energize it, finance it, and then move on. There's unfortunately, regardless of the commodity, there just isn't enough grassroots exploration, in my opinion, going on in this country, and especially in outside the gold space. 70% of gold juniors in Canada are still focused on gold. But as John pointed out, if we want to attract the next generation, gold is not the answer. And I agree 100% that lithium, coined white gold by some people, is very much part of the future. And I think these high prices are here to stay. There must be some relaxation as production rises in the next 2 years. But when you look at the demand production, and I'm not talking about banker analysts, Goldman Sachs 2 days ago and announced that we're headed for a lithium oversupply. Most of the, I would say, more learned people in the business, both on the production side and the car manufacturing side, basically slandered that opinion, saying that there's absolutely no way we're headed for an oversupply. All the numbers point to a permanent supply deficit. And when you consider numbers such as published by Rio Tinto, Jadar was about 120 million tons of 1.8% lithium, truly a world-class deposit. When the Rio Tintos of this world say we need dozens of those to meet supply, it's no joke. But it's not only no joke, it's absolutely impossible. Any lithium deposit over 100 million tons of hard rock is by a long shot world-class and extremely difficult to find. And the only way we're going to find them is by starting with very aggressive grassroots. Now, the good news is the potential in Eastern Canada is outstanding. Lithium only occurs in one geological environment. It makes it a lot easier. Many metals, gold, copper, and so on can occur in a variety of environments. But the interesting thing about spodumene pegmatites is that they only occur in one environment. And that is tied into a type of granite that we call S-type. It results from melting of sedimentary crust, a process called anatexis. And that generates an S-type granite, which has a very simple characteristic. It contains two micas, both biotite and muscovite. As soon as you can locate those at the bathylitic scale, large scale, you know you're in the right ballpark. From there, surrounding that big granite batholith, you can locate pegmatite fields. Those pegmatites will also contain two micas, very important, and they'll typically be white rather than brick red or pink. No iron oxides, also very important. And it's that class of pegmatites that then evolves into metal enrichment, outboard usually of the main batholith, and that's the enrichment first starts with beryllium, niobium, and eventually leads to lithium tantalum. So they're coined LCT pegmatites, simply for lithium, cesium, tantalum enrichment, but they're also enriched in beryllium and rubidium. But the only two metals really of interest are lithium, and many lithium pegmatites, such as Greenbushes in Australia, have significant tantalum byproduct. And tantalum is a very important metal. It's used as microcapacitors in all laptops, cell phones, pads. Without tantalum, we wouldn't have cell phones and pads. There is no substitute for tantalum as microcapacitors in electronics. So never mind the lithium battery, tantalum is also a critical component of all our portable technology. So I won't go through all the market details. Actually, John did a much better job than I could. Rest assured, though, that demand is going up. Recycling won't cut it. And so we have to find more deposits. It's plain and simple. I do not believe that lithium brines or increased production from Sahara areas in South America especially can meet that demand. Lithium clays are very hard to process, very expensive. They're typically low grade, running 0.2, 0.3% lithium oxide. They require large-scale bulk tonnage operations, but also large-scale processing. And if you look at Powder Pass in Nevada, you're looking probably over 1 billion tons of 0.2. But it's tough. You're moving a lot of dirt. It's energy intensive. It's environmentally tough, rough. And it's not the answer. They're also quite rare. In terms of the future of lithium, for those reasons, I believe that lithium pegmatites are the future because in the Canadian Shield, these S-type granites environment actually abound. They're also quite common actually in the Maritimes, and that's why we decided to focus on Mosquito Country because very few companies right now are focused on Grassroots. So during Lithium Mania 101, most juniors simply acquired existing showings, which was fine, and deposits. They drilled them off. They defined decent resources, but it's only a small fraction of what we need. Now we have to take a step further and do Grassroots and find new systems, new mineralized zones. And that's why our approach now to Brunswick, since the pandemic, when things were very quiet, we started compiling Eastern Canada. We started acquiring lithium pegmatites, S-type pegmatites, which were on stake, and there's quite a significant number of them. And now we've acquired a property package, North Shore of St. Lawrence in the James Bay region, southern Abitibi in the Pontiac subprovince, and in New Brunswick, Nova Scotia. They all have the same characteristic, large S-type granite batholiths surrounded by pegmatite fields that are all absolutely virgin, never been explored for lithium. So that's the package in southern Abitibi. Ironically, our main block is only 20 kilometers south of Canadian Malartic, which, as most of you know, we discovered and put into production. But this is not a gold play, of course. There's probably zero gold potential in the Pontiac subprovince. The whole province is host to a giant S-type batholith called the Decel batholith. And only 2 lithium showings known historically, which have been staked. Soyona to the south is that's their Tantalum project. Vision Lithium 3 years ago staked that one. But we went in into essentially to open country and we staked all the large pegmatites we could find. The largest one, which is truly outstanding, I was actually in the field last week, is 18 kilometers long. It's an absolutely gigantic system. But this is where you want to be in order to find another Greenbushes. The Greenbush deposit is 3 kilometers long, 70 to 100 meters wide, and it's, in terms of production, long-term production, the longest lived spodumene pegmatite and the biggest one known on the planet. The only other one that's truly outstanding is Manola in the DRC. That's actually a completely different story. It's actually a bulk tonnage, low-grade lithium deposit. Still spodumene, but it's about 700 million tons of 0.8. So that opens up another concept, and that is bulk tonnage spodumene mining, where you could mine 50,000 tons a day and have fantastic production out of a low-grade deposit. So that goes to show that in the lithium pegmatite space, you have the potential for both bulk tonnage and smaller high-grade systems. But regardless, you don't want to focus your efforts on 5-meter wide dikes. You want pegmatite dikes that have volume. So all of our staking is essentially focused on systems that are minimum kilometer long and up to, in the case of Pontiac here, 18 kilometers long. And that's what we have in our inventory. So press release on James Bay acquisition is going to come in tomorrow. In James Bay, we acquired another 22 properties, and we have about 60 pegmatites in that inventory. So as of now, in terms of Grassroots projects, between North Shore, Quebec, James Bay, and Pontiac Province, and New Brunswick, central New Brunswick, Catamaran, this is located in an area where there are a number of many small outcrops, no definable large pegmatites, but a lot of lithium anomalies and tills, and Nova Scotia around the South Mountain batholith, where we acquired a number of highly evolved muscovite-bearing pegmatites in the batholith, though, not outboard, again associated with tilt anomalies. So that brings the entire inventory right now to 125 large pegmatites. We will systematically evaluate them all this field season. The next field season is a 2-year program. And at this point, it's a numbers game. Statistically, we think we have a very good chance of finding a significant lithium deposit, if we're lucky, and other green bushes. But I stress that geologically speaking, the potential is there. There's absolutely no reason to believe that we couldn't find other green bushes in Canada. And what we need to do is move aggressively and test all of those. And the nice thing about lithium is that pegmatites, all you need is an XRF gun to test the fertility of the pegmatite, write it off as barren or potentially fertile, and so you can move through the entire roster very, very quickly. So it's going to be efficient. 2 field seasons will carry on, and that will allow us to test the entire portfolio. So it's about as grassroots as you can get, but it has to be done, and that's the only way we're going to make, in my opinion, any world-class discoveries. Thank you very much.